What's going on, everybody? Welcome. And today, I want to talk about something really important. And that subject is dealing with depression. Now, this subject is touchy on many levels because of just the simple topic of depression. It's so wide range and it's so, especially with the whole with mental health being put to the forefront in this day and age, more so than ever, as far as I can remember. The topic of depression has really been put to the forefront, and that's a good thing. And just for those who don't know or are not familiar with what depression is, depression is it's a broad term, but it is basically a mental state. And of course, the word depressed means to be down or to be under. And this mental state shows up in a wide range of emotions. It could be just a feeling of sadness. It could show up in anger. People will sometimes try to mask their depression by using other vices. Some people like to make people laugh in order to hide depression. The expression "have to laugh to keep from crying," stuff like that. And especially in the case of like comedians, when you listen to the backstory of a lot of comedians and their upbringing, their childhood, things of that nature, you will find that many of them have dealt with depression for a very long time, and they have found comedy as a tool to, to filter the depression. You also see it with musicians. Musicians, you learn their history. You hear about how they dealt with depression from an early age to adulthood, and especially with them being a famous musician, just the anxiety, just the pressure of being known can bring on another type of depression. And the thing about depression is many people go through it, but actually don't realize that they're going through it because for many years, many generations actually, depression was looked at as something was wrong with you. You're crazy. You just making stuff up. It was dismissed for many years. Whenever someone was upset about something and they didn't quite understand why, that was taken as, well, nothing is wrong with you. If you can't say what's wrong with you, then nothing's wrong with you. And when someone says, well, I'm depressed, it will always be met with, well, what are you depressed about? Like, what is actually upsetting you? It was always met with resistance or dismissal. Let's say like, you ain't crazy, or like nothing's wrong with you. You have no reason to be depressed. And what happens is the whole thing about depression, what I've found and what other people have when they speak about their depression, you normally hear this main thing. Right around the time when you are a teenager, puberty, those teenage years, the young adult years, That's when you start to hear and see people dealing with depression. And it's very interesting that that's the case, because you gotta think that time, that age, with puberty is around, 12, 13 and older, teenage years, young adult years, junior high, high school, college, those years. And you gotta think about, well, why is it when most people that I know of and I hear about talk about depression, and someone asks, well, when do you think it started? It's always around that young teenager, preteen, teenage years. You gotta think, well, why is that? Like, what brings on those thoughts, that state of mind? And I think it's a combination of things. It's just a bunch of things at once. You got hormonal imbalances because you're going through puberty, your body's changing, your brain is kicking off, firing off signals that you've never experienced before. So you don't know how to deal with them. Your views of the world change. You start to really analyze your surroundings and yourself, and it's a lot to take in. And you don't really know how to deal with that. And when you don't have an outlet, well, let me rephrase that. When you don't have a constructive outlet to let loose these thoughts, these emotions, these feelings, you tend to internalize it. And you want to let it out, but you don't know a proper way to release these thoughts that everyone has. And since you think that no one has the answer, or since you think that no one can give you the answer, then no one has the answer, and then it's just a cycle of internal. It's just all internal. You internalize everything. And just the sheer amount of information is kicking in, and just the hormones, all this stuff is kicking in at once, it's enough to bring anyone down. And when you realize that, you realize also depression does not have a face. Let me explain what I mean by that. Depression does not have a face, meaning because many different people deal with depression in different ways, there's no one way to look at someone and say, you're depressed. Okay? You're smiling, you're laughing, so you shouldn't be depressed. You may be crying one time, but that's okay. You ain't that sad. You ain't depressed. All these things come through, and since there's no one face, you just bypass, because you think when somebody says you're depressed, that means, okay, well, you're sad, you're moping all the time, when that could be further from the truth. I know, in my own life, I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with depression many, many times on different occasions. And the thing about depression is, depression don't care about what time of day it is. It don't care about if you're just waking up. It don't care if it's your birthday. It don't care if you're at work, you're sleeping, you had a good dream, whatever it is. Depression does not care what time of day it is. It doesn't care where you are. You could be having a good conversation and having a great time, and the vibe is good and the energy is high, and then all of a sudden the next second, just a cloud just flows over you, and you just stuck in that space, you know, and you just on the outside it looks like it looks like you're okay, but the inside it feels like you're dying inside, like you just it's like you're being buried under tons of thoughts and feelings that you don't know where they came from. Just out of the blue, you're just in that funk, in that rut, and then the next moment you're back, like nothing happened. That it happens. It happens like that sometimes, you know. And I know for me, I can always say thank. I'm very thankful that I have a constructive means to deal with, depression when I have those moments, because there've been many times I've had some bad thoughts go through my mind, and it looks really really dark and really really grim. But many times like that, and it's happened at work. I could be having a good time, all of a sudden it just hits you. And the difference is between me and a lot of other people is that I have a way to deal with my thoughts constructively. One, I've learned to be open and honest with my thoughts. You know, it's one thing to be truthful, but it's another thing to be honest. Honest really is like when you're digging within and you're being truthful with yourself. And you really start to analyze things, you start to put things in perspective, and you talk them out. You speak out loud. You speak about them out loud, and just hear yourself think out loud. And also, being an artist, my art helps me also because I'm able to visually manifest my thoughts. Whatever I'm thinking, I'm able to visualize it and put it on some kind of medium to be viewed. That way I can actually see with my eyes what state of mind I was in during that time, you know, and I'm able to process the thoughts. I'm able to look at them, process them, translate them, manifest them, look at them, and see, okay, where was I in this moment, and what can I learn from it? And that's just one more hurdle to go over. But a lot of times, many people don't have those, or people don't think they have those means to deal with it. And some people, do things self-destructively. You know, drugs, alcohol, food, sex, or in worst case scenario, suicide. It's unfortunate because I've had family members commit suicide from depression, and it's heavy. It's heavy when you got to deal with that. So just pay attention to your friends and your family, and pay attention to yourself when these moments, these mood swings happen. Don't just dismiss them. Pay attention to them. Ask questions. Ask questions of your family, your friends. Ask questions of yourself. Just pay attention, because just because they don't quote unquote look like they're depressed does not mean they're not going through something. So pay attention, everybody. I like to say, call your friend, check on your friend, check on your family, and say, hey, what's going on? I just wanted to hear your voice. That little gesture can help out greatly when it comes to people who aren't doing the best at that moment. Just every now and then just say, hey, you on my mind. I just want to call and say, hey, how you doing? Because that one little moment could be very, very powerful to that person and can help them out greatly. So take care of yourself, take care of your people. I'll catch you all later. Peace.